Hey, you guys, let's talk. Hey,
I'm Chef Bilbo.
Hey, what's your favorite planet?
Okay.
Mine's the sun. It's like the king of the planets.
Okay.
Hey!
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of KORRACAST. Let's talk about the new episode, Beyond the Wilds. Okay, but before we do that, Sean, give us a little rundown about how our live reactions went.
Live reactions went well.
So, before we get into chunk bending, Ryan, give us a couple updates, because you're the only coherent one out of the four of us.
Oh, have you watched our interview with Mike and Brian yet?
Have you ever watched the show Four Reels? We talk about movies. Go to the thing that is Four Reels.
If you want some timely movie reviews such as Muppets Return and the RoboCop review we never posted,
Did we ever get?
watch Four Reels.
Okay, so let's get into the bulk of this episode. There's a lot of things happening. I would say that the biggest part of this episode is that Korra has finally overcome.
Here's some notes.
One note is Zahir spelled wrong.
That's my favorite one. I know I spelled it wrong.
I can't
You
believe
spelled it Zahir.
People were trapped in the spirit pods.
Okay.
Why were they doing that?
That
Why,
was-
what was the
that was
purpose of
weird.
these things?
That was
Very
so
weird. It was
weird.
very Matrixy.
Well, we should also talk about not just the spirit pods, but the fact that the vines are now, capturing people.
Okay, the vines are getting crazy. They're trapping people in the spirit pods. I think they're reacting. I think
So they just don't like any people at all, so they gotta encase them in spirit goo?
no, they're reacting to Kuvera.
Yeah, I think that was pretty well implied, but why are they
Like,
just
did you
snatching
ever-
up your people in the tour group?
Speaking of Marky Mark, did you ever see that movie, The Happening?
How are we speaking of Marky Mark? No one was talking about
We're
it.
always speaking about Mark Mark.
That's true.
Were we talking about Transformers 4?
What?
Revenge
No.
of the Happening? So
you're thinking
basically
nature's trying to
fighting back.
reclaim. Nature's
Yeah.
fighting back
Yes.
against all peoples.
I guess my
Yeah.
question would be, if the swamp is a place that's very, spiritually powerful in and of itself, why wouldn't the vines just stop Kuvira from doing what she's doing?
I mean, we didn't really get to see what was exactly happening. All we saw was glimpses and visions. I was pretty sure we're going to get more stuff because, one, we still haven't seen Toph go crazy on them, which we're probably going to get. So maybe they are. We don't know. I don't know. I got the sense that there probably is a lot of stuff going on over there that they're going to reveal in the later episode.
I mean, we see the spirits fighting back, but obviously they already did a good amount of damage. Also, I don't know if we already mentioned this, but did anyone think that, okay, it's Avatar, but then the giant tree reminds us of Avatar, and then the ship's taking down the big tree?
Avatar,
like in the movie
Avatar turned into Avatar.
Yes.
So, like, Avatar, is that...
It's an Avatar crossover.
It's like poetry.
So there was the council meeting in Republic City where we actually got to see the Fire Lord, the new Fire Lord, speak for the first time. We actually got to kind of hear her thoughts on what's going on with Kuvira, which I'm glad that scene existed.
Her line was good.
Her line was very good, and I'm glad to see where the Fire Nation kind of stands. And I also like the fact that she was like, look, the Fire Nation's been in all these stupid wars throughout history. We don't want to be in another one. Which is like, it's the first time you see the Fire Nation like backing away from a conflict, which is cool.
Everything changed when the Fire Nation didn't attack.
Yeah. Except nothing's changed.
Yeah, nothing.
Oh.
Nothing has changed at all. Things
Everything
stayed neutral.
stayed the same. The Fire Nation did nothing.
I still want to see what the Fire Nation looks like, and with 4 episodes left, I don't think we will, but that's okay. I guess I'll just have to die on
We
that.
might have a final episode celebration with Ewoks clapping around the world or something.
I would love that.
Anyways, I think the council meeting also, though, was kind of again, you finally see a couple people stepping up. As funny as and stupid as Wu is, he's like trying at least, right? You kind of see him trying to take on the leadership role. And the same with Azumi. Like, she's pretty young, right? You see a young person in the role. And I liked how Mako actually was, at this point, he's like totally support now. He's come a long way, right? Now he's
Yeah,
like,
he has.
Bolin, you were just trying to do the right thing. Come on, guy. You're doing, and Korra, like, he was...
Going back to what you said about Prince Wu, even if he is trying, that doesn't mean that he should lead.
Yeah.
Because all the ideas he had were totally just nonsense and, the dumbest things anyone could ever say. It was like they shoved Bolin into a council meeting. It reminded me when, at the end of Book 3, when Bolin was like, I got it, I'll distract him with my bird calls. And he goes, caca, caca. Like, that is something that Prince Wu would have come up with right there. And it's just like, obviously Bolin is not, he shouldn't be the Earth King. Prince Wu should not be the Earth King either. And that's what I gotta say about that.
I want to talk about Veric because I, for one, think that Veric just continually gets funnier as the show goes on. But also, I just like that little moment where he's talking to the president and Asami, and he's like, "Wait a second, did you screw both of us over?" Like, I love how things have come full circle, and I also like how many links to book 2 we've had in the season so far, because
it makes me want to go back and watch book 2.
So much about book 4 has made me want to go back and watch book 2. So, and because of that, it makes the whole thing feel more connected.
You talked a little bit about Bolin and Opal, right? Where do you think? Maybe you did. In your lifetime, you have.
No, I avoid.
Okay,
Check
well, Ryan, talk about Bolin and Opal.
We're going through some rough times.
I want to talk
sure.
about Bolin and Opal.
Okay.
I have a hard time caring about them because I really liked
You heartless monster.
Look, I was rooting for them in book 3. I was really rooting for them because Bolin had gone through so much, BS, and he just couldn't catch a break. And there's a nice girl he met, and like they seemed like they were good together, and I wanted it to work out. But I mean, now after that, it kind of felt like, well, we just gotta give him some conflict. We gotta test the relationship. And I'm like, okay, for me, it feels like that relationship's going through the motions at this point. He's gonna do something heroic and etc., and everything will be okay.
But I don't think that makes their struggle irrelevant. I
don't know if it's.
I still like their relationship because it's the only relationship, I guess, in the show that still really exists.
Right.
Yeah.
They kind of forgot, they kind of done away with any kind of shipping that.
Right. That is true. I'll give it that.
I like that. I feel it's pretty genuine, and I think the conflict is genuine. I don't know how.
I think I
could see her at this point getting over that, other than just
right.
I mean, it'd be interesting in the same way that if nothing happened with Mako and Korra or Mako and Asami, it was just like these characters. They started off trying to get together like in their teenage years.
I don't want anything to happen with them just because it's been so long since they've addressed that. It just feels like there's just not enough time.
I do think it'd be important, though, that it's established that, I think we said it, or you said it, that it's not just Korra needed a man in her life.
Right.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
She
needs to be. I love myself.
I think that's the perfect segue to Zahir, which is I think the meat of this episode, because I remember that conversation. I remember actually you specifically bringing up a few episodes of KORRACAST ago about how that's going to be just your concern was that her struggle. Her internal conflict was going to be resolved too easily, and you were saying oh, it's cool that she lost to Kuvira, and because she's not just going like this, she's going like this, and the Zahir thing totally caught me off guard, and I think it was a brilliant way. Look, this happened to you. You need to face what happened to you, and man, it was cool because we like Zahir. Well, I like Zahir.
Yeah.
So it was cool seeing him again, but also thematically, I thought it was just a good way, another good step in her progress as a character.
I was even though Zahir was obviously he was flawed in his ideals, I think that deep down maybe his heart could have potentially at one point been in the right place.
Yeah,
just,
aside from the murder.
Aside from the murder that he eventually did, yes, but he got to. He knew that him and Korra needed to work together. Because he agreed with what Korra was trying to do.
What Korra says, hey, you made Kuvira happen. Good job. He seems genuinely upset about that.
I mean, I think this is the first time we get to see a previous antagonist come back, and we don't get to see him on, or you know what I mean? This is the first time where we get to see someone see the repercussions of what he has done,
right.
And it's an interesting thing because antagonists or villains are usually they're not that dimensional character. They're not that deep characters, right? Because they don't get that opportunity. Right. But we see that now. We get to see a character who would traditionally we never go back to. Just now we have to live his consequences. Now he has to actually possibly change.
Yeah, and that's another great thing about his dealing with his consequences. That line where he's like, "Korra, you have all the freedom in the world." Right when I learned how to fly, they put chains on me.
Yeah.
And especially for a character that we like so much, like Zahir, it's for them having to pick a villain to go back and revisit, I'm glad it was this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he can go to the spirit world whenever he wants.
Right.
So I mean, in a way, he is more free than he's ever been. I mean, really, he just gets to.
Also, it seems like isn't that a security risk? Should we do something about that? Nah.
But what happens if he walks through the spirit world?
Isn't there
I don't know.
I just imagine Korra on the way out. By the way, guards, you might want to address this. You might want to.
Well, what do? Do you just constantly hit him in the head with a hammer?
Hey, wake up!
Hey! We're doing that.
Hey, you.
Well, you can just float away.
Oh no!
Oh man, what if you had a root beer float as he was...
Stop it!
Don't fall in the catbox. Well, let's call the cops. We're gonna be arrested for murder.
We got a viewer response question for you guys this
Cameras
week.
aren't on.
Well, yeah, that one is. What?
On this week's episode, we want to know why you think the spirit is capturing the spirits of people from the world.
You know, in that whole performance, Vince is just going to put the viewer response image of me.
Yeah. So you can act as captivated as you want.
Okay.
Simba, remember who you are.
But seriously, why are they pod people?